Hello, 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 hello. I want to welcome you once again to another new wonderful episode of Teens Reality. I am your host, Pastor Udom Wobi, and today we are going to be continuing the series we began in our last session, Parental Supervision. We took our time to understand just what exactly parental supervision is and why it is important. Why it is important for you as a teenager, why it is important for you as a parent. Now, before we continue on what exactly the different scope, we understand parental supervision involves, I want to take our time to understand first of all who a parent really is. I had made mention of the fact that who is a parent? Is it just someone who is a biological relation to you or something else? What makes you a parent? What makes you a parent? Because some people might ask, oh, I give life to them, I give birth to them. That does not just make you a parent. There are those who have given birth to children and then given them up for adoption. There are those who give birth to children and perhaps then died in childbirth. There are those who gave birth to children and abandoned them. There are those who died after some years. Now, the person who takes over raising that child, what then do you call that person? What role is that person playing in the life of that child, of that teenager? Because you need to understand, first of all, that it is not just about the biological relation that makes you a parent. It is so much more. A parent is someone who cares for you, who provides for your needs, physical needs, emotional needs, financial needs. They provide for it and is there to teach you, to guide you. But that is a mistake that many parents make nowadays. Some of them just think, okay, I give birth to them, they can do what they want. I don't need to be involved with it. You must be involved. You must be involved. There is a place of grooming and instilling the right manners and the right character into that child. You are responsible for their development. Remember, when you give birth to a child, when a child is born, if you're the one who actually gave birth to the child and you actually perhaps breastfed that child did not just begin to survive on its own. Even for those that perhaps were not breastfed, they were fed with, formula, you understand, and milk, baby milk. The most important thing is that there was a place of dependence, first of all. The child had to be nurtured. So beyond caring for their physical needs, there must be emotional guidance. There must be teaching of morals and values. Because the child you raise will reflect who you are. And right now, your child, your teenager, is still with you. You have the wonderful opportunity to build that young child now into someone who is respectful, into someone who is honorable, outstanding young person, who is true, who is kind, who is loyal, who is steadfast. You have a choice to do that. When you decide to say, okay, I'm not interested and you want to hands off, you run the risk of raising a child who will be dangerous to society. When a child says, I don't want them involved, you say, over time, if parents are not given to doing what they ought to do, children are allowed to run amok. Over time. If you don't take your role as a parent seriously, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, children will think that anything goes. As long as mom doesn't complain, as long as dad is okay with it, I can do what I want when I want it. For parents to just throw money at their kids, throw gadgets at them to say, okay, mind yourself, do what you want to do. You're raising children who will be having been instilled with a character that is not worthy to build a right and good society. So a parent is that first guide and teacher and should remain one of the strongest positive influences over the course of a child's life. A parent is the first guide and the first teacher. So whether that child came to you through adoption, whether you gave birth to the child, whether you gained custody, guardianship of the child, whether you're even the grandparents, you are the first teacher, you're the first guide. And you should be allowed, by virtue of how you apprise that role, a strong and positive. These two words, they should go hand in hand. Strong positive influence over your child's life. All right. Now, the question is, as a parent, are you taking out time to understand your child, your teenager you're raising? Because you have a responsibility to do so. Not all of your children are the same. You know, not all of them are the same. Whether you give birth to them naturally, whether they are adopted, whether they're those you are temporarily fostering. You understand? Perhaps even those who are being raised in your homes. Like in Nigeria, there is a common term you call a house help, a house girl, a house boy. You didn't give birth to them. Some of them are brought in to assist in raising your own children. But eventually, you are responsible for still grooming that child or teenager that is helping you or assisting you in the home. You're responsible for them. So you need to understand them. And this requires time, attention, and patience on your own side. You must be certain that in your bid to be done early with work and parenting, your teen doesn't suffer for it. Because as time goes, as the baby gets to the point where it is no longer totally dependent on the mother for survival, like being able to eat or move around, and begins to learn, motor abilities, you understand, begins to reason, begins to think, begins to speak. Over time, so parents begin to think that, okay, your close monitoring is no longer needed. Please, that is erroneous. It is still necessary. It is important that you stay involved, you stay committed. Stay committed to that job of raising a child. It is a job, a loving job, a heartfelt job. And one thing the Bible always tells us to do, that whatsoever you are doing, do it heartily as unto the Lord. Those kids you have, those teenagers you have, they are a gift from the Lord. He gave them to you. He entrusted them to your care. So God is looking at you as a parent and is saying, I'm holding you to the fact that these children should be raised and groomed rightly. Now, when you say monitoring, there are things you need to monitor. I just want to mention 5 things you can monitor first of all before we now look into what the parents must do and effective supervision strategies. First of all, the use of devices. The use of devices, screen time, programs watched, shows or series or pages your teenagers follow, the use of cash and credit cards, movements and hours outside the home must be clearly told to you beforehand. These are things you can monitor. Understand? Use of devices is very important. The shows they watch. I stumbled upon a video where I saw how this particular TV show, CoComelon, is something that a lot of babies are currently obsessed with. How did they achieve that kind of full attention being paid to it? They made use of bright animation that keeps that baby's attention captured. Babies can stare for long periods sometimes without blinking. They can give full focus something that they want. And now, the show itself doesn't even teach a lot of right things. A lot of queer teachings are encouraged. So imagine a parent just thinking, it's just a cartoon. And you allow a child to begin to watch that. What happens? The child is being indoctrinated to accept what is wrong. In the same way as teenagers, the fact that a show says it is age appropriate for 13 plus, it does not mean your child should be given access to watch it. Some shows that are 13 plus still show some minor flirtation, some kind of physical touch, some even some kind of violence. You understand? And sometimes they show it in a kind of suggestive manner, making it feel like as if your kid should not feel wrong for seeing or engaging in such, and that is so wrong. As a parent, you have the right to control what they are exposed to. You don't want to be raising a psychopath in your home. You don't want to raise a serial killer. Serial killers are not born. They are made. They are groomed by virtue of what they have been exposed to over time. Yes, some kids might have been born with some kind of mental and developmental issues, but over time, the kind of therapy they receive, the kind of exposure they receive, can decide what that child will eventually turn out to be. And that's a fact. Some people try to make it seem that if a child is a bad seed, it must be a bad seed. No. A child can be regroomed, can be trained. And you as a parent has that first opportunity to step into that role and take your place of monitoring and supervision very, 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 very carefully. Alright, we're going to go for a quick break, and when we return, we are going to continue. Please do well to send us any information, questions, comments that you might have about this ongoing topic. Send it to the number. It can be a text message, a WhatsApp message, Telegram message, +234 813 929 2708. The same number even for TikTok. You can use our TikTok handle. Same things reality. Lifechangerstorch.org is the email. So do well to reach out to us. We'll be back after the short break. Hello, I want to welcome each and every one of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Welcome back from that quick break. Thank you for staying tuned. Remember, this is Life Changers TV channel on YouTube. We encourage you to subscribe, like, and follow us for more content just like this Teens Reality show. Alright, I'd like us to take a look at a quick video that highlights the need for parents to closely monitor what their kids do online. We've made mention of how screen time must be monitored. Why? A lot of things can happen, a lot of things can go wrong when you turn a blind eye. So right now, still as a parent raising a teenager, there's a lot of control and monitoring that you can exert that will ensure that your child is not being misdirected or guided into wrong actions. Let's watch the video now.
Should parents monitor their children's social media accounts? Social media has become an integral part of our daily lives, particularly for children and teenagers. While social media can be a valuable tool for connecting with friends and family, sharing experiences, and learning new things, there are also risks and dangers that parents need to be aware of. The various risks include cyberbullying, online predators, and inappropriate content. Social media sites allow users to communicate with strangers anonymously, making it hard to determine whether or not the person they're talking to is trustworthy. Parents can play a crucial role by keeping a close eye on their children's social media use. Consider your child's maturity and capacity to handle the extra responsibility that comes with using social media. As a parent, you should also determine which social media platforms your children are allowed to use and set out clear rules on how they should be utilized. Open communication between parents and their children is essential when it comes to being safe online. Explain to your children the dangers associated with social media and how to identify and avoid them. Educate yourself on social media by researching the popular platform's safe use policies. Additionally, parents should use sophisticated parental and control apps to set screen time controls effectively. You can also use brand reputation tools for your children, to see what others are saying about them on social media networks or in forums or blogs. By monitoring their children's social media activity, parents can help establish safe online behaviors while protecting them from harm. Parents must have an open and honest conversation with their children regarding the risks of social media use at the right age. Using parental controls is not an invasion of privacy, but rather a crucial step to ensuring children's safety online. So yes, parents should monitor their children's social media activity and adopt appropriate measures to ensure their online safety and well-being.
Alright, so we've seen quite a lot of information passed across to us through that short video. Parents, it is not an invasion of privacy. Teenagers, it is not an invasion of privacy for your parents to control what it is you're exploring online. those social media platforms, those chat rooms you're going into, those places you are gaining access to. And please don't try to play smart with your parents. Perhaps when you think they don't know everything, okay, you now see how they put the controls on your phone and you try to seek ways. I saw a particular series where a mom met a friend, her daughter's friend, in a coffee shop and shouldn't you be at this particular place, my daughter? And the friend was like, no, that we don't have that going on. And the mom was like, she told me that she was supposed to be with you and she's not there. She's like, oh. And the mother now even brought out the daughter's Instagram account and was like trying to show her that it's showing that this is where she's like, oh, your daughter actually has another fake Instagram account. The ones the parents don't have access to look at. That really shows who her friends are, where she's really vibing at. You understand? And the mother was quite shocked. She returned home that day in a state of shock and sat down to dinner with her daughter, her husband, and another son. And she began to ask her daughter how the day went, wondering what her daughter would say to her. And you would not believe it. The daughter actually began to tell her about the quiz competition she had gone for and how she had taken third. The mother was surprised. She kept on looking at this daughter. She had actually seen the classmate, as in a classmate of the child who was supposed to be at that competition, not there. And the mother was quiet all through. The daughter was actually like talking to the father, and the father was feeling so proud. Wow, you took third. That who were those? They engaged, and she was like, it was very competitive. And the mother now tried to come into the conversation and ask who took the first and second. This girl was able to lie with a straight face and mention 2 students' names. Like, she was prepared. So parents, please, teenagers are so smart. Don't tell yourself that, okay, I don't want to encourage, I don't want to push them away from me. Let me just allow them do what they want to do. You allow them do what they want to do, and this is the kind of child you'll be raising. She was literally lying through her teeth and smiling all the while. And the mother's heart was breaking on the inside. Like, she felt she had trusted her daughter. And her daughter had got to this point where she could lie with a straight face to the father. And the father was just excited. The fact, it was later she had to go see the father down, reveal to him what was happening, and then they had to take the matter in hand. It might be that right now, you as a teenager, that's what you're doing. Ask yourself. You might feel happy, feel like you're outsmarting your parents, your guardian, your teachers, you're getting to do what you want to do. But ultimately, you're building up yourself to be a liar. You're building up yourself to someone who cannot be regarded as trustworthy. And eventually you get to the point where you will not be in a dangerous situation and you will feel ashamed to now call your parents because they will not be expecting you to be at that place where you're calling for help from. And that's not what you need. So it's important as a parent, monitor what they do online. Because now I want us to look at effective supervision strategies, what you can actually employ to ensure that you are on top of what they are doing. Please speak out when you need to speak out. Don't be silent. Don't assume. Never assume with teenagers. Don't assume you know what they are thinking. Don't assume that because that is what other teenagers are doing, that is what your own teenager is doing. Be in touch. So it leads us to the very first effective supervision strategy that works. Establish open communication. A caring and trusting relationship is the foundation of effective supervision. Children are more willing to share information with parents they trust. And trust is not built by magic. It is built over time. If a parent that shows up like a visitor to your own home, that child, it will be hard for that child to trust you. If you're a parent that is available only once a week, once a month, and you expect that child to come and be pouring out their heart to you, maybe it's not that it suddenly just began to happen because you changed your job. It has been from time immemorial. You've never been available. It's hard. So you yourself must establish open communication. You must let them know that they are free to come talk to you. Engage with them. That's why you can share with them how your own day went. At least what is appropriate for their own age grade, their age level. Share with them how your day went. Share with them perhaps what you also experienced when you were a teenager. things you wished someone would have told you, mistakes you made that could have been avoided. But now you have to deal with. And tell them that because you love them, you don't want to have them face that. If for any reason they are facing, so please, they should not be afraid to speak to you about the matter. Let them know that you are there to listen, and that you will not judge, you will not condemn. Because many times, if you not tell a child, okay, I'm willing for you to come to me and share, what they now come to tell you something you do not think you're going to hear, please don't flare up. You will just kill that communication handle that was given to you. So as a teenager, please be willing to share with them. When your parent opens up to you and tells you that they are willing to listen, please don't hold back. Many times, the very best friend you're ever going to have are your parents. A time will come as you mature and shade from your teenage years, they will grow from just being merely parents to becoming friends. People you discuss issues with. You want to get their opinions about because they have lived through their phase. They have lived through that experience and now are in a better position to advise you and counsel you. So that's the first one, establish open communication. Number 2, set clear expectations. Define and communicate clear rules and behavioral standards along with fair and consistent consequences for breaking them. Let there be boundaries. Where there is no law, there is no sin. If you've not explicitly defined for a child that this is wrong, and then you arise and you begin to punish them for it, you'll be doing it the wrong way. Set your rules and let them know why you are setting those rules or those boundaries for them. It's just like when you're setting things like a curfew. A curfew can be different for different aged kids. Kids who are not yet teenagers, perhaps the curfew is like you must be home immediately after school. For those who are just getting into their teenage years, you can let them know maybe an hour or 2 afterwards you must be home. That hour or 2 maybe just before an extracurricular activity, or perhaps they need to meet up with a group of friends for a project or homework that they need to discuss, a group work. As they age, you begin to extend the boundaries based on how they've been respecting those boundaries. Because if you set boundaries and they don't respect them, you must revisit those boundaries with them and establish why they are important for them, for their safety. So just like when you tell a child, you cannot go on TikTok for now, you cannot go on Facebook, you cannot go on Instagram until you get to this age. Let them know. If they do, they are in the danger of exposing themselves to some kind of people that they do not need to have contact with. Let them know why. So in fact, you see that video stated to you that there are controls on the device where you can ensure that you are monitoring what you do. In fact, you can set hours at which those devices shut down. Screen time. This number of hours a day. After they've exhausted those hours a day, the devices are shut down. So if they wanted to use all of the hours at a particular time, certain things like maybe bedtimes, eating times, family times, you understand, relaxation times, things they must do are necessary. Times that they are allowed to visit friends. You also even let them know that family times for bonding are things that they cannot afford to break. It is necessary to ensure that there is harmony within the home. To set boundaries and then let them know that there are rewards and that there will be punishments if those boundaries are broken. Number 3, adapt with age. The type and intensity of supervision should evolve as children mature. As they grow more independent, you can move from active physical monitoring to more guided, hands-off oversight. There are some times when you can no longer be able to physically monitor them. Like maybe when a child was still like a toddler, you understand, those preteen years. A time comes when you cannot follow your teenager. Maybe they get to 16, 17, 18, now they are driving. They can drive themselves to places. They don't need you to go drop them off at lessons, at, you understand, rehearsals or games or what have you, or to the movies. They don't need to take their friends together with them. But even as you are no longer with them physically, adapt with age to know that you can still monitor them. There is a way to monitor, use the location on their device to track it to your own phone, link it to your own phone, so you know where they are at every point in time. You can't do that. To be certain that they are where they're supposed to be, and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So please ensure you do that. And as you do it, Don't try to now say, okay, because you're controlling them, they are not allowed to have that freedom to grow. There must be freedom, but the freedom must be in a way that doesn't destroy them. Excessive freedom can intoxicate a teenager and make them go wild. That is why your monitoring is needed. Next, use technology wisely. That is what we've been discussing. So set those parental controls for the online activities and educate your children on responsible internet use. Let them know if for any reason they stumble onto a site that is inappropriate. Let them know the sites that are not appropriate to them. So even when they stumble upon a site or this kind of ads, clickbait, they click on it and when they see something that they tell them to just log out of it, close down that page. Because nowadays, a lot of people who are introducing content online, they no longer care about those who have been exposed to it, whether they are young or old enough to actually view or listen to such content. So let them know. In fact, there are certain controls that can reduce like violence or sexual content. Certain apps on the children's phone can limit that. Please do well to activate those settings on your children's phone. Your teenagers' phone. Ensure you activate those controls so they don't stumble onto things like pornography. You don't have a child that will become addicted to sex, addicted to porn. You understand? It's control such stuff. You don't want your child beginning to get into relationships. It's people that you cannot see. You don't know about them. You cannot do a background search on them. And in fact, one thing you must ensure that, because many people don't allow your children to get into dating so early. There's someone that tell you, okay, I just met this person online. You don't know them. Where do they reside? Where do they live? 13, 14, some point I tell you it's too early. What does that child know? That child should still be focused on building their own selves, studying, academics. Love and emotions at that moment should not be wasted on another. It's most likely that relationship is not even going to last. 2 months, 3 months, the excitement fizzles out and it's all over. Heartbroken, they're on to the next one. It's like, don't make them feel like as if they're just changing books, changing shoes, changing backpacks. Then don't be in a hurry. You understand? Don't let them know that there is no hurry to get into relationships. You should focus more on building relationships with friends who have the same values, who have the same principles, who have parents who have the same similar parenting styles like yourself. Finally, create a safe environment. In addition to active monitoring, making the physical and digital environment safe for children helps reduce risks. You understand? Create a safe environment around your home, around your community. It is so important. Like there's this popular TV show, Everybody Hates Chris. It talks about a teenage boy whose family just moved from a very dangerous situation to a place they felt that was going to be more safe. You understand? That was more upscale in a way. But it turned out that place was still a heaven of bad activities. So you see the mom always going on about the fact about when they needed to be home, who they were allowed to associate with, you understand? And it might feel like as if she was being too controlling. But she was emphatic about 2 things. She didn't want to be raising any teenage baby for her daughter, and she did not want to be raising any drug addicts. She was emphatic about what she wanted for her children. So she told them, even if other parents are not going to monitor their children, she was going to do her own job and monitor them. She had the right to do it. She was well within her rights. And she let them know that it was for their safety and for their well-being. So they had to be home at a particular point in time. You understand? They had to ensure that they did not associate with certain people. So as a parent, please create safe environments. Like choosing the kind of schools your teenager is going to is very important. Choosing the kind of friends they will hang out with is very important. That is creating a safe environment, because school is a place where the child is going to be. If your child is not being homeschooled, you understand, they're going to be there for like 7, 8, 9 hours a day. You must be sure that when they go there, their physical and safety is well-being is well accounted for. So So these are different strategies that you are called to employ as a parent. And one thing is certain, as you take out time to do it, you will see your teenager doing what he or she ought to do. And they will appreciate it. They will thank you for it in the long run. They might not enjoy the restrictions when they compare themselves with other teenagers who might not be as closely monitored as they are being monitored. But eventually, when they begin to see the fact that they don't fall into errors, they don't have to think about things like abortion, they don't have to think about going to rehab. You understand? They don't have to think about attending AA meetings and stuff like that. They will thank you for it because you caught it early. Catch them young and watch them grow. So you are in the right time to catch your teenagers. Catch them, monitor them, groom them, and watch them mature into becoming who you want them to be. Alright, we have taken our time to teach quite a lot. Thank you for staying tuned to us. I'm really enjoying this topic so far, and I welcome your insights, I welcome your comments, I welcome your questions. I want to hear from you. In fact, perhaps maybe not in the next episode, in the further episodes, we'll take our time to look at some comments and questions and feedback and let you know what people are saying about this show. The number is +234 813 929 WhatsApp, Telegram, TikTok. We are right there with your number. You can also send an email to teensreality@lifechangerstouch.org. Thank you for staying tuned with us till we come your way, same time, again. I remain your host, Pastor Odumobi. Saying to you, to-dos.